Fox News alert! Yes, me, Vance Boelter. You wanna know the truth? Alright, here it is. I confess, yeah, I did the hit. Tampon Tim said make Lil Moochar quit. Said he wants the seat, wants the fame. Told me I never have to give my name. Don't act shocked, don't play dumb. You knew this game before I picked up the gun. So ask yourself, who made the list? And why Tampon Tim needed me for the assist.
Assassin who disguised himself as a cop to shoot down Democrat politicians and their spouses. He killed 2 and seriously injured 2 others. Today, we're finding out he wrote a letter to the FBI claiming he was trained by the U.S. military, quote, off the books, and that Tim Walz asked him to kill Amy Klobuchar so he could take her Senate seat. Boelter's facing state and federal murder charges.
Vance Boelter, the suspect in the attempted assassination of lawmakers here in Minnesota, left behind a confession note in the car that he purchased between the time when he allegedly committed these horrible acts and was caught by law enforcement some 48 hours later. And in that letter addressed to go to Kash Patel of the FBI, Vance Boelter blames Governor Tim Walz and says that he was trained by the military and that Governor Walz hired him to take out Senator Amy Klobuchar so that he could run for his seat. I host a morning show here in Minneapolis. Been following this story, obviously, since 1 week ago when I first got word of what had taken place. And since then, everybody has been speculating. People have been grieving. People have been hurting, especially those in the legislature, many individuals of whom I know personally. And now with this added information, it's only going to go, and it already is, and cloud the commentary around this mentally disturbed, clearly individual. As a matter of fact, the Minnesota Star Tribune, the largest journalistic outlet, news outlet in the state, ran a story prior to this information coming out of what was actually in the confession letter, and it was bringing up the difficulties of Governor Tim Walz calling to tone down civility, given the fact that he has been spreading inflammatory rhetoric for months since losing the election, even most recently saying that we need to bully the blank out of Trump and Democrats need to get meaner. Hopefully this means it'll be a quick trial relating to the conviction of Vance Boelter, the alleged shooter in this incident. But I can tell you right now, these new details are just adding further confusion to what was already an incredibly tragic and messy event.
Now, the main thing about this is today that they say that Vance Boelter told the FBI that Governor Tim Walz asked him to go and do the same thing to Amy Klobuchar so that he could take her position. This is huge. This is a story that should be it should be talked about in every news medium. It should not be pushed under the rug, because, you know, for us to have 2 legislators that were just attacked like that in the middle of the daytime, especially under those conditions when they just voted across party lines. This is a huge story, and I don't want it to be swept under the rug, and I'm going to try to keep you informed about it, but see how much you'll hear about it. You should hear about it all the time. This is unbelievable because what it does is it sets a precedent where it makes it where Democrats are afraid to go across party lines and vote their conscience. That's why in the last few years, you never see Democrats break rank. They never do. And it's because they're probably terrified to do so.
Massive breaking news, guys. Minnesota assassin Vance Boelter told the FBI in a letter that Tim Walz asked him to kill Senator Amy Klobuchar so that Waltz could take her seat. This is why so many people are claiming they are hiding the manifesto. We need a full investigation now, and we need to see why the leftists are covering this up. You guys remember when Tim Waltz said this?
Only later in your political career did you change your position. Why?
Yeah, I sat in that office with those San Diego parents. I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA, I was an NRA guy for a long time. They used to teach gun safety.
Yeah, he said he was friends with school shooters and then later on said he misspoke. We need to quit letting these leftists hide these manifestos, because they don't want the public to know that a lot of their ideologies can result in violence. They praise people like George Floyd, who was a felon, hurt pregnant women, and say he was a hero, burnt down his state and he let it happen. They say people like Luigi Mangione are somehow heroes when he literally shot someone in the back of the head like a coward, all because they disagreed with their healthcare policy. And they like to hide manifestos, like when it came to that one trans shooter who shot up that church. And they locked that down quicker than you could say he's friends with school shooters. And if you look into the background between these two, they actually have a history. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think there is some merit to this story, or do you think this is all just smoke and mirrors? All I know is we need an investigation to get the truth, because if Tim Waltz actually did this, he needs to go to jail right alongside him.